Hey y'all. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna participate in this tag video also, where we are sharing 10 things that you probably don't know about me. And yeah, some of this stuff's kind of interesting. So we'll see. All right. Number one. One of my favorite snacks, which I don't eat it very much anymore, but like it's still like now I more have to be craving it to eat it, but when I do eat it, it's still one of my favorite things. Raw potato. I love raw potatoes, and part of this came onto my list because last night I made mashed potatoes with dinner, and I was eating the potato pieces as I was cutting them up, and I've always been that way. I love raw potatoes. So yeah. Number two, I was raised by my grandparents with my sister. My sister is 5 years older than me. I'm the baby. It's just me and my sister that my mom had. But my grandparents raised us because my mom, I don't know, she took 12 years to, well, no, it was about almost 17 years to decide that she wasn't ready to be a mom. And so my grandparents stepped in and took over 100%. And we lived with them, and they put us through school from the beginning, and um, they pretty much did everything for us. If it wasn't for my grandparents, I wouldn't have been brought up the way that I was. Yeah. Number three. I am terrified of daddy longlegs, centipedes, millipedes, cockroaches, silverfish, and earwigs. I can't handle these bugs. Don't mind things like, tarantulas. Why I can handle tarantula but not a daddy longleg, I don't know. Um, I don't mind like ants, uh, crickets, some grasshoppers, stuff like that. Some of that stuff doesn't really bother me that much. But the other things are just, they're too much for me. And I think part of where my fear of those come from, daddy longlegs, when my mom was married when I was really young, we lived in a trailer kind of out in the country, and it never failed. There were always daddy longlegs getting into our house, and I hated them. And they weren't just like daddy longlegs that you normally see. These ones had bodies that were like this big, and their legs were like that long. They were huge. Like, I mean, some of them like were as big as my hand, like for with body and legs and all. I don't like them. And then centipedes. My grandparents' house, centipedes are really bad. In Indiana, where I'm from, uh, we our town is set on the canal, or it used to be a canal, and so the town is actually kind of swampy-ish. And I guess centipedes are really drawn to wet places, and that's when centipedes would get the worst. Plus, my grandparents have a really, really old house. Their house was built in like 1891 or something like that. But so when I was growing up, there were centipedes there, and they're not like other bugs where they come because of dirty or anything like that. They're just there, and they're absolutely disgusting looking to me, and they just slap freak me out. And I'm pretty confident that I had one run across my face in my sleep one night, and it's been ever since then that I've been even more so freaked out by them. Uh, so yeah, some bugs bother me, other bugs don't. Number four, I grew up in private Christian school. Went to Christian school from preschool until 10th grade. Um, Only through 10th grade because the high school that I went to for 2 years ended up closing after my sophomore year because there weren't teachers to run it, and some of the other requirements that were needing to be met weren't getting met, so they had to close the school. But for preschool, I went to a United Methodist preschool, And then um, come time for kindergarten, I went to a Missouri Centered Lutheran school from kindergarten through 8th grade. And when I graduated from there, it was 1996. Um, the graduating class that I was part of was I was one of 4 other people, all of us girls, and all 4 of us had been together since kindergarten. And I'm still friends with them on Facebook, and I don't keep in touch with them as much as I should, but I do pay attention to their lives on Facebook and stuff still. And one thing that was really weird about the school was we were paired up in grades. So kindergarten was in a class by itself, but first and second grade shared a classroom. Third and fourth grade shared a classroom. Fourth and fifth, or no, third and fourth, fifth and sixth shared a classroom. Seventh and eighth. And how they did it, like we stayed in the same classroom all day. The teacher in the classroom taught all the subjects throughout the day, and what they would do would flip flop the curriculum because it was one classroom. So, like in first and second grade, um, one year they would use all of the first grade curriculum, and then the next year they would use all the second grade curriculum. And if I'm not mistaken, I was on the backward year. So, like in first grade, I was doing second grade work. And in the second grade, I did first grade work. Third grade, I did fourth grade. And fourth grade, I did third grade, and so on like that. And they used the same basic setup for curriculum all the way up until I think it was about sixth grade, fifth or sixth grade, was when our math would get split up. And we would be in where we needed to be with math. I think it was in sixth grade that we like really started doing our own math, um, so that we were starting to get prepared for going into high school and stuff. And I remember that once I finally started doing my own grades math, like it was so much better. Like I loved it so much more. Okay, number 5. I have never been to a secular concert. Been to several Christian concerts, but I've never been to a secular concert. I have seen Carmen was my first concert that I ever went to, and any of you who know Christian music would know who Carmen is. It's been so long since I've really heard any of his music that I can't name any of his songs, but that was like one of the first concerts I went to. I've also seen Newsboys, DC Talk, Jars of Clay, Audio Adrenaline, Jennifer Knapp, Stephen Curtis Chapman, BBC Wyans, um, and a few others. I've been to several concerts, and I've actually I think I've seen Newsboys twice, and there's one other group I've seen a couple of times too, but I don't remember what it is. And then there was a group that was from my local university in my hometown. There was a group that started there, and I've seen like pretty much every one of their concerts. So, never been to a secular concert, but been to several Christian. I'm still waiting for my chance to go to a secular concert. Number 7. I can say, this is like one of those useless talents. I can say all the presidents in order from Washington to the present president, which I'm not overly fond of, but I can say them all in order, and I can actually say them kind of fast. But I'll go ahead and do them at a normal speed, just because it's something that like a lot of times it'll come up where I'll say that I can do it, and people are like, "No way! There's how? No, nobody knows who all the presidents are." So this is the presidents in order. It's Washington, Adams, Jefferson, Madison, Monroe, Adams, Jackson, Van Buren, Harrison, Tyler, Polk, Taylor, Fillmore, Pierce, Buchanan, Lincoln, Johnson, Grant, Hayes, Garfield, Arthur, Cleveland, Harrison, Cleveland, McKinley, Roosevelt, Taft, Wilson, Harding, Coolidge, Hoover, Roosevelt, Truman, Eisenhower, Kennedy, Johnson, Nixon, Ford, Carter, Reagan, Bush, Clinton, Bush, Obama. and that is called The President's in Order. This was something that we learned in like 7th grade, and when we were originally taught, Bush was just getting ready to go into office, the Bush Jr., and the way that our teacher taught us was to the tune of Yankee Doodle Dandy, which of course, when we were in school, the younger kids thought it was the tune of Barney, which it's the same tune, but yeah, it was to the tune of Yankee Doodle Dandy, and we would all make competitions of who could say them the fastest, and out of our class, it was me and one other girl. They could say them the fastest, and I could say them in about 3 seconds almost. But it's just like a fun, interesting thing. Like people who can name all the states in order. I can't do that. If I sat down and tried, I probably could, but I can't. And people who can say the alphabet backwards, I can't do that either. But I can name the presidents. Go figure. Okay. So that. Number 8. I am addicted to Discovery Network channels. So Discovery Channel, Investigation Discovery, Discovery Science, Discovery Fit and Health, TLC, the HGTV Network, DIY, the History Channels, Military Channel, what else is there? Net Geo channels, all of the channels that are either part of the Discovery Network or kind of sister relation to Discovery and stuff like that. I love them. Like right now, that's what I'm watching. I'm watching Mythbusters on Discovery. I just like, excuse me, my nose is running. I like educational programming more than I like this stupid stuff that's on, especially nowadays. TV has gotten so stupid. But yeah, I do really, really enjoy Discovery channels. So that's that. And then along the same things of what I like to watch is number 9, my favorite movie. The Labyrinth with David Bowie from like 1980 something, or 70 something maybe, I don't know. Is my favorite all-time movie. Like, there will never be a movie that can top that movie or be as good as that movie or anything. That movie, like, it is just always a winner for me. Like, I love it. I've got it memorized. I've seen it so many times. I could sit and listen to it with my eyes closed and be able to describe what's going on in it by just hearing sound cues and things like that. I've got that movie memorized down pat. That's my favorite movie. Number 10. I always have to sleep with a fan on, underneath the covers, and usually have one foot out from the covers. I didn't used to always have to sleep with a fan on. Like, when I lived with my grandparents, I slept with a fan on because I had a ceiling fan like we do here. But like when I have like a standing fan, I don't always have to have like a standing fan on or whatever. But like especially in the summertime, I would have to. But in the wintertime, I can do without a fan. But I like having the air movement, and I kind of think the sound too. And our ceiling fan's not that loud or anything, but there is a small hum from it. And like just it's mainly the airflow. I like the fan being on. And then I'm somebody that I like sleeping under the covers. I like being cuddled up underneath the covers and stuff. So that's something that helps me do it. I like being cold when I sleep, which makes it really hard to sleep with my husband sometimes because he is a human heater. And now that he's working nights as a guard, sleeping has been wonderful because like I'm actually starting to get on a kind of halfway normal pattern of sleep because I'm falling asleep shortly after he leaves for work and waking up just before he gets home. And like today I ended up laying back down and go back to sleep after he got home. But sometimes I don't do that. Like it's really hard to sleep with him sometimes because he is such a hot body. But yeah, that's 10 things about me that you probably didn't know. So I don't know, it's kind of cool. Have fun.